If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
I love the way those guys play.
Let's go!
Hey, take my hat off to Tom Brady.
I've known Tom a long time. Incredible guy, as good of a human being as he is a football player. And that's one thing I've always known about Tom. I knew once you got on the field with him, you're my friend, but I'm going to crush you. I don't care. We're not friends as we're out here. He played like I played. His mentality was my mentality. Oh, it's cool. I respect you. You're a star. You're handsome. Everybody loves you. You look like you should be in Hollywood, but I'm going to try to knock you out.
What a play by Brady.
Nice job!
Brady throws it to the end zone. Leaping.
His leadership is off the charts. And he's a winner, man. And that's all you can say. He brought a winning mentality to a really talented football team that didn't know how to win.
Well, it's kind of hard to argue anything other than Tom Brady is the GOAT. You see it on your screen. He now has more Super Bowls than any franchise in the entire National Football League. And bear in mind, during this past offseason, he signed with a team that hadn't been in the playoffs in 13 years and hadn't won a playoff game since a Super Bowl that was played in January of 2003.
What did you think when Tom walked out and he was wearing the Super Bowl ring from that year?
That was harsh. That was harsh.
Knife to the
that
stomach.
was just right in the face, like a little knife in the gut. It's like, man, it's like the song, "It's supposed to be me. It's supposed to be me."
Did you know he was bringing a Super Bowl ring that day? Did you know that?
No, I did not.
He's the first player to win Super Bowl MVP for two different teams. I have a sheet of things that he has done now that would take me the rest of the show to read them all.
He's the GOAT. He is the greatest football player to ever play. And I can tell my kids I play with that man, and I'm just blessed.
Brady has got amazing ability to read the defense quickly and going to the right receiver. I mean, because you don't have a whole lot of extra time anymore.
What do we say of Tom Brady this morning and what he means to the NFL?
The GOAT conversation is over. The GOAT conversation is settled. In my mind right now, I'm seeing Vince Carter after he dunked the ball in his dunk contest, and he goes, "It's over," because that's it. He's put it so far that he's put it so far away from anyone even challenging what he can do with this win. Let's think about what Tom Brady had to do to win this Super Bowl, right? He's playing through a pandemic. He has no offseason. Some of his biggest targets and some of his biggest skill players are guys that came over with him throughout the offseason, even through the season with Antonio Brown. And you're asking him to learn a new offense, find a new place, be a leader in a new locker room. And Tom Brady does all of those things. And not only does he just get to the Super Bowl, but he plays extremely well. Tom Brady was not carried to the Lombardi Trophy. It was actually the other way. You think about Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, all of these people who were huge in this game, they aren't Tampa Bay Buccaneers if general manager Tom Brady doesn't get them there. They all came to play with the GOAT. Like Leonard Fournette said, I am going to tell my kids I played with Tom Brady. I'm not going to tell my kids I won a Lombardi. I'm not going to tell my kids I won a Super Bowl. I'm not going to tell my kids I scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl game. You know what I'm going to tell them? That Tom Brady was my teammate. That's his effect. That's who he is. He's the greatest organization of all time.
Tom was great. I mean, he's, besides being first in, last out, hardest worker and all that, he had a knack. So, I mean, the football end of it, the IQ, all that's brilliant. But he had a knack for making everybody feel like they were important. Everybody had a piece of this. The guy that's in the training room, he didn't even practice that week. Tom would go in and have a good comment for him of, you did a great job on scout team last week, and you really made us better, and things of that nature. I had a conversation with Tom before an Indianapolis game. We were getting ready for where we were doing some 2-minute offensive stuff. They played this cover 2 a little too close to the goal line. That one up the rail and stick it in there. And in the middle of a no-huddle, 2-minute situation, Tom checks to a play on the 15-yard line going in, looks at the safety off for a second, and sticks it in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. He came straight off the field to me and said, that's yours, and which is total BS because Tom knew what he's done it 100 times before I got there and knew. But he would acknowledge any contribution by anyone on the team. It was pretty impressive.
He's smarter than the coach on the field because he's been in that huddle. He's been in that pocket trying to get it done, but he knows how to do it because he's been there before. He's seen everything.
It's the greatest Super Bowl run a quarterback has ever gone on. I mean, he just went through 3 of the all-time greats at the position, 3 guys that will be Hall of Famers, 2 of them on the road, right, with Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, and then knocked off the king of football right now in Patrick Mahomes. So for Tom Brady, it's the greatest Super Bowl run a quarterback has ever been on.
Skip, I loved everything about football except football at that point in time because I just couldn't do the meetings.
Yeah,
See, Tom loves the meetings. Tom loves like the rewind. I like, man, I don't want to take any more film home and watch it.
All right.
I don't want to watch any more film at practice. I like, can I just like show up to practice and play? And that wasn't an option. So the next best option was to leave and go to TV. But Tom loves everything. Tom loves practicing. Tom loves film study. He loves getting on the planes and having fun with the guys.
Tom Brady was said that he's too old. His arm wasn't strong enough. He had fallen off the cliff. Couldn't get it done without Bill. I mean, how's that looking today? You know, and I think that we've labeled him the greatest of a lot of different things. I think he's the greatest believer in that I've ever witnessed. RC labeled off Fournette and AB and Gronk. 2 of those 3 guys were cast off. 2 of those 3 guys, and some of it because their own work, but 2 of those 3 guys no one believed in. But Tom, multiple times, they had huge impact in that football game last night. Tom Brady is the greatest team sports winner in the history of team sports.
Russell Wilson signing the richest contract for a per annual basis for a quarterback in the National Football League, best paid player in the National Football League. I'm wondering how this sort of stuff lands with Brady in New England and your knowledge of his history of giving hometown discounts to the Patriots, Ian.
Well, I think he's never been a guy who's worried most about money.
Right.
And of course, he's had the benefit of having the highest earning supermodel in the world for a long time. In fact, Gisele Bündchen's dynasty is greater than his. She had a run of, 15, 16, 17 years where she was the #1 earning supermodel in the world. But it's not what he's about. I don't know if it'd be any different for him if he didn't have a wife who earned that kind of money. And I think he was smart enough long ago to realize if I rack up enough rings, I'm going to go down as the greatest quarterback of all time. And I'll make enough money along the way and I'll be fine with it. So it just doesn't drive him.
You know, from what I've surmised after watching Tom, he's had some great opportunities because of his team and his experience, and he's owned up. He has stepped up. He's answered that challenge more times than anybody, and he's brilliant. And if you got to say who's the best of all time, well, given the numbers being a championship, Tom is.
I'm wondering what you think Belichick's thinking, that here's another team that is maxing out essentially at the quarterback position, and wondering, looking around the league at how teams are building, and he's the only one, I guess, that has an all-world GOAT quarterback that doesn't take up a huge percentage of the salary cap. It's just amazing how the Patriots continue to build their team in a way that nobody else does.
Right, and Belichick is lucky that he has a quarterback like that who has that mentality and philosophy and approach. And there were a number of years ago when Brady looked like he was declining right before they drafted Garoppolo. Robert Kraft had a conversation with him about his need to continue giving hometown discounts for the benefit of the whole. And Brady was very willing to do that. Of course, the reason they drafted Garoppolo in 2014 was they saw him physically declining, and the numbers were going and trending in the wrong direction with Brady. And then, miraculously, he outplayed the Belichick software, the Belichick system, which, of course, moves out players 1 year early rather than 1 year late. He was scheduled to be replaced, and it is pretty amazing that he outplayed the system and forced them to trade Garoppolo instead of trading him. It's one of his greatest career accomplishments. It really is.
And Shefty, I saw your tweet last night, going all the way back to the beginning of this, that when Tom Brady decided to leave New England, there were really only 2 teams that went after him. For those who didn't see it, pick up on that thought, Shefty.
Well, first of all, Dan saying he's the greatest player in sports and the quarterback is the most impactful position. So if we're going to take what he said and apply it to last offseason, all I could think about as I'm watching the game last night is when he became a free agent, there were teams that thought about making a move with Tom Brady. But in the end, ultimately, when he became a free agent in mid-March, there were two teams that seriously pursued him. The Los Angeles Chargers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there were 30 other teams that thought they had a better quarterback solution than going out and getting the greatest player in NFL history at the most impactful position, a man capable of changing your entire culture. How could 30 teams take a look at a guy where you didn't even have to trade any picks to New England? You didn't have to give up any compensation. All you had to do was hand your program to him. And there were two teams that wanted to do that. Two. Okay? The rest looked past him. They all thought he was too old. They all thought he looked washed up in New England in his last season there. They all thought he wouldn't be able to do it at the age of 43. And once again, I think one of the things that drives Tom Brady is proving people wrong. And now it's proving people wrong at the age that he's doing it at.
Brady is saying, I've actually been able to maintain championship level for a long time without getting any better, but I don't get any worse.
Correct.
And he said, I do that through my workouts, my recovery, my training. Okay? Has he not found some magic formula that works for him? So here's his concluding point to Jim Gray. He says, you know, we shouldn't stop our life, even though we love something, because it's just someone puts an arbitrary timeline on it. Very true.
Right.
Just because no one's ever played to 44 or 45 at a high level.
Right. Especially at a skill position. At a skill. Blanda kicked till he was 48, but he was just a kicker.
Got it. We're just talking about quarterback.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because there's the old sort of the theme that quarterbacks back in this is like 20 years ago, that all the statistical, historical stats showed you that when you get to 38, you start to hit the quarterback wall. Well, obviously, he's way beyond that wall.
Correct.
So he's saying, I don't care what history says.
Well, hell, he's been to more Super Bowls after the age of 37 than any other quarterback has been to in their career.
So
you're talking about from 37 to 43, where he's at, as opposed to all the other quarterbacks in history.
Okay. So he's saying, don't tell me what's happened in the past because I'm shattering this mold.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day.